Before we get started on this episode of Kaguya-Sama Love is War Ultra Romantic, I just wanted you to know that next week there won't be a new episode of Kaguya-Sama Love is War Ultra Romantic. I took a 1 week break, so I didn't do Kaguya this week, so we will be back in 2 weeks with Season 3, Episode 4 of Kaguya-Sama Love is War Ultra Romantic. I would tell you the episode title of the next episode, but I don't have the list in front of me, so I can't really do it right now. But anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks. There'll be a specific date in the comments if you want to look at that. But instead, you can also just please enjoy, hopefully. Please enjoy this episode, and I'll see you back in 2 weeks. That worked out. Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Kaguya-Sama Love is War Ultra Romantic. Last time around, Nagisa Kashiwagi wants to kill. Where basically, Nagisa thought that her boyfriend was cheating on her. He wasn't. And then we had Maki Shijo wants to take action, where Maki wanted to break up Nagisa and her boyfriend because she was in love but couldn't admit it. Also, she is like a very bad version of Kaguya, basically. She's just a very sort of arrogant and entitled and rich person that Kaguya is not. Also, Miyuki Shirogane wants to be believed. He didn't want Kaguya thinking that he went and hooked up with some girl at karaoke, and they played a truth game, and then at the end, he just asked her, "Do you believe me?" And she says, perhaps. Yeah. That's pretty much where we land. So, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Kaguya-Sama Love is War Ultra Romantic. Let's go. Okay, we're looking at all the different Hayasakas. That doesn't sound weird at all. Miss Herthika, which they never call her, lives in Yamate, Naka Ward, Yokohama City. Fairly well-bred girl. There's I Hayasaka, school camouflage popular girl mode, a spirited girl with a penchant for fashion and breaking the rules at school. There's Mr. Okay, so the Herthika, they don't say that. They've been saying Hayasaka the whole time. Descended from Irish immigrants who fled their homeland during the Great Potato Famine. Okay. And then, I Hayasaka in Shinomiya family mode, a cool-headed maid who can pull off anything. So that's 4. There are 4 different versions of Hayasaka. And you know what? I'm gonna stop trying to keep all of them straight in terms of which ones do the other characters know. Because, frankly, my head is exploding. We're just going to leave it as they know who Hayasaka is, and they don't really know that Hayasaka works for Kaguya, except Shirogane, who does. I give up. I give up on that. I can't. I mean, because it's also a thing of, like, you know, like, Fujiwara is like, oh, you know, Shirogane and Mr. Hayasaka are gonna be an item, but she also knows Hayasaka from school, girl Hayasaka. I give up. I give up. I give up. The many faces of I Hayasaka. I feel like I've seen that clip before. Of, like... For some reason, I feel like I've seen that clip before of, like, Chika, her nose bleeding, like, into the sink. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before. Probably I saw that on a random YouTube clip, like, a year or 2 ago. So, like, before I even started watching this show. So... I don't know. There's so many Hayasakas. Can't the world spare one for me? Ugh. So that was an interesting one. Again, the
2-part story, and then another part that's completely different from the other 2 parts. That seems to be a trend this season. So, Ishigami has a crush on one of the cheerleader girls, because she's so happy and nice, and to be fair, like, look, we as men are simple creatures. Like, that's, like, constantly a joke on Twitter, but it's almost, like, not a joke, because it's really true that it's, like, it's the joke of, like, you know, a girl will say to a guy, like, oh, hello, good morning, how are you? And then that'll be that, and she just kind of moves on. And the guy will think, oh my god, I'm in love forever, you know? I don't know. Or, like, just if anyone is, just if a girl is, like, nice or gives us a little compliment, like, guys just don't know how to handle it, you know? So, honestly, I think that's kind of where Ishigami is. Like, does he legitimately have a crush on her? I mean, it's possible. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to downplay it and say it's not genuine what he's feeling. But at the same time, it is sort of a thing of, like, you know, like, okay, how many people in his life are nice to him that aren't named Miyuki Shirogane? You know? Like, Fujiwara is kind of nice. Kaguya has been getting better. Miko is just generally not nice. And he generally doesn't know anyone else at all. So, you know, girl comes in with a nice smile and is nice to him. Yeah, you know what? I don't blame him. Because where I have been talking about shipping him with Miko, I mean, I have to be honest, they don't really like each other, you know? We had a whole episode about how they don't like each other, you know? So, now, granted, where there's the whole thing of, well, a girl comes over and is nice to him, therefore he has a crush on her. The reason this doesn't apply with Kaguya, because she has been a lot nicer to him. I mean, even just in this episode, she was really nice to him. But at the same time, he was also terrified of her for a long time. And now it's just come around to, I mean, I'm sure he's still terrified of her, but there's just a genuine friendship between the two of them now, you know? So, it's like, I like that. I like her going to, you know, finding him when he's just having this crisis and you know, just kind of pulling him out of it, you know? It's like, basically, you know, when he's like, you know, next time I'm going to do even better. And she's like, okay. Then the kid gloves are off. You know, now that you are ready, you have tasted the failure. Like, you've legitimately tasted failure. And now you are ready for something greater. Now we can be serious. So I like that. And that moment where she falsely blames him for the reason she didn't beat Shirogane is just like, yeah, that's her excuse. The real thing is she can just never beat him, you know? Like, we had an entire episode about this I think in season 1, you know? So it's been a year since that episode, so and I do like all the different plans he had, and it just boils down to don't be a creep. Which, I mean, I gotta admit, you're like, yeah, that's a thing, you know? You come up with all these dream scenarios, and it's just like, I remember there was an episode of Game Grumps, I think, where Dan was talking about this girl that he had a crush on, but he couldn't, like, make a move, like, at this place, and he, like, came up with scenarios in his head of, like, oh, we would, like, sit next to each other and, like, drop something, and as we reached down, our hands touched, and our eyes met, and then one day, this dude just came in and was like, yo, you got a boyfriend? And she's like, no. And he's like, alright, you're with me. And she's like, okay. And he's just like, that can happen? It's just like, no, that's not a great example, but still, it's like, look, instead of this elaborate plan with multiple different flowers, you could talk to her. And I mean, to Shirogane's credit, he talks to Kaguya. he is friends with Kaguya. And I mean, that's sort of something too where it's like, look, like building that kind of relationship from a point of zero, I mean, that's rough, you know, getting into a relationship with someone who you don't really know. Like, it's a good thing with Shirogane and Kaguya that they already have this solid friendship, you know, and partnership at the student council that, yeah, they will probably have a great relationship, you know, if they get together. Starting, like, trying to date someone from a point of zero is gonna be kind of rough, you know? Like, at the very least, like, Ishigami, like, try talking to her. Because, you know, they have the whole thing of, like, oh, well, women want, you know, a man who has some sort of power, you know? Strength, money, in Shirogane's case, brains, you know? Like, there's something there. But at the same time, it's like, you don't even need that, honestly. It's like, what you need is a strong relationship with them. I don't know. Maybe I'm not one to talk, but I don't know. It's look, I can sit here with my fat ass and talk about this stuff, you know. It's like there was an old Jon Stewart joke, I think, where he's like watching like figure skating at the Olympics or something, and they like kind of screw up. And he's like, come on, what are you doing? As he's like sitting there, like eating Cheetos in his underwear, like, come on, you know, it's like, yeah, perspective of who's the one criticizing, but still, I don't know. And of course, all of this discussion, like, I'm analyzing this more than I analyzed Jujutsu Kaisen today, you know? But it's like, all of this, I'm talking about a cartoon at the end of the day, you know? This isn't real, but they feel so real. They feel so real. That's why we have waifus, you know? Which I have to admit, like, over the past, like, season, or at least, like, the last 10 episodes or so, I gotta say that Kaguya has kind of risen in the ranks, you know? Like, Hayasaka is still number one, but, like, Kaguya, I think, is a close second of just, like, I just really like her now. But, you know, when you're the main character, you kind of get a lot of development. And you also spit when you try to talk. But it's like, you tend to get a lot of development when you're the main character. So, yeah, and then the sleepover, that was interesting. With Mr. Hayasaka, that was funny. Again, it's a thing of, like, how many Hayasakas are there? So, like, okay. So here's a question, then. If you remember in Season 2, there was the episode where Hayasaka tried to win over Shirogane. And she had her schoolgirl outfit, and she said that she was from a different school. In that same episode, in the next part, Hayasaka, Shicho Academy, Hayasaka, approached Shirogane. Did he recognize her there? Does he recognize her from school? Because then at the karaoke he did recognize her, but did he recognize her from his school or from that school? Or I guess, you know, the new year has started, the new school year has started, so maybe you could say that now, like, that's the excuse, is that Hayasaka is now in Shicho Academy? Is that even what it was called? Shujin. What was I saying? Shujin Academy, not Shicho. Shujin Academy. There we go. Okay. And Fujiwara knows Hayasaka from school. They're actually quite close, but doesn't know about working for Kaguya. And did Shirogane recognize Hayasaka, like, when she was there, when she was trying to get him and she was in the schoolgirl outfit? Did he recognize her from Hayasaka's house when she was the British maid? This is why I can't think about it. I cannot think about this because there's too many Hayasakas, and too many people know too many different Hayasakas, that I can't keep track of it all. Like, I'm literally, like, I have a headache now. I can't think of this. There's too many Hayasakas, too many different covers, and too many different things that people know and don't know about Hayasaka, and I can't do it. I can't do it. So, the point is, this time we had 4th variant Hayasaka, which is the male variant, the gay man variant, the gay butler variant, which Fujiwara was not prepared for. But Hayasaka... But yeah, and she didn't even change her name, which Fujiwara didn't notice. It's just, no, this is Hayasaka. I'm tired. Alright, good episode. Let's see where we're going next time. If I go any further with this, smoke is going to come out of my ears. So, with all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Kaguya-Sama reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.